This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
They expect 70 full-time employees to operate that facility here in Northport and West Villages. Those are new jobs. They're not here today.
Northport is buzzing with expectations ahead of the Atlanta Braves moving spring training to the city. The team has signed a 30-year agreement with the county, but the behind-the-scenes work isn't over. Questions about paying for the stadium are still up in the air. Tonight, we'll have the latest on where it stands and what it will take to make sure that we have a seat at a Braves game by 2019. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Conan. Welcome to ABC7 at 7. We'll have the latest on the Braves moving their spring training to Northport coming up. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with a shooting in Bradenton. The sheriff's office says a 21-year-old man was shot in the parking lot of the El Paisano restaurant in Bradenton. The victim survived. 38-year-old Mauro Ramirez now faces attempted murder charges. A community leader believes a lot of the area's crime originates from this business.
If they shut that bar down, which I'm surprised they haven't did yet, it would probably alleviate maybe 50% of the crime.
ABC7 tried to get in touch with the owners of the El Paisano, but our calls were not returned. A follow-up on a Manatee County woman who hired an undercover detective to kill her ex-husband last year. Today, a judge is sentencing Rachel Leahy to 20 years in prison after she pled no contest last month. She lost custody of her 3 children to her ex-husband in 2012 and told an undercover detective she wanted him gone so she could see her children again. Her ex-husband says the case took a toll on his children.
We changed all the locks in the doors. We got security cameras all over the house. Every time somebody hears a noise at night, they're jumping up.
Leahy will also serve 3 years probation when she is released. Now to a terrible workplace shooting in Orlando. A former employee of an awning factory shot and killed 5 of his co-workers before turning the gun on himself. The sheriff's office says the shooting is not terror-related and says 8 employees made it out of the business alive. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says the shooter, John Robert Newman Jr., has a criminal history, including battery.
The individual in question is a former employee of this business. He was fired sometime in April of this year. So he was a disgruntled employee that came back to this business this morning.
The shooting comes as Orlando prepares for the first anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting that left 49 people dead and more than 50 others injured. New developments on plans to build a Sarasota's county's first medical marijuana dispensary. Soterra Holdings is filing the paperwork to open the dispensary on Tamiami Trail in Northport. Northport is the only city in the county that didn't place a moratorium on dispensaries. City commissioners still need to approve an ordinance allowing Soterra or any other dispensary to open. Commissioners will take up the issue in July. Earlier this year, the city of Venice demolished its 50-year-old public library because of mold, and tonight there are concerns about building a replacement on the same property. Testing at the site by the county reveals problems with the soil, resulting in moisture continuing to pool underneath a building. The county is planning to remove soil 7 feet down, replace it and compact it. Residents say despite the findings, they want the new library at the same location.
Put the right soil underneath it, build it, and they will come. Keep it where it is.
The test results could make construction fall behind. The new library is scheduled to open in the fall of next year. Long-awaited improvements to River Road in South Sarasota County will remain on hold. Governor Rick Scott is vetoing $3 million in state funding that would have included the project. County Commissioner Charles Hines says the veto is a disappointment, but it won't stop efforts to widen River Road. Right now, the mostly 2-lane road is a major evacuation route for Sarasota and Charlotte counties. Hines plans to apply for funding again next year. After one of the driest winters and springs in recent memory, the Suncoast is putting under water use restrictions. The Southwest Florida Water Management District is limiting lawn watering and residential car washing to just 1 day a week before 8 a.m. and after 6 p.m. The restrictions are needed to keep the water supply at a safe level. This is the first time SwiftMud is enforcing water restrictions since 2012. Restrictions will be in place until August. You can find the full schedule on lawn watering times and days on our website at mysuncoast.com. And Bob, that raises the question, how much does it have to rain in order for the water restrictions to be lifted?
Well, it would have to rain at least, I think, get 10 inches to up to a foot of rainfall to really settle things down. Not all at once, but over a course of a couple of weeks. And we may just get that here this week as we are looking at a series of disturbances moving our way. I want to show you this. The aquifers is what we're worried about. Obviously, the less stress on those, the more they fill up, but the more stress on them, meaning more people watering their lawns and using the water to do other things, actually going to cause more stress. But when it rains like this, there's less stress, and so that's a good sign. And the extreme drought continues. Like I said, it's going to take at least 10 inches to a foot of rainfall to alleviate that. But the news on the fire front is really what's so beneficial. The rains have really helped out. Now, it's not to say that we can't go back into a problem, but it is really looking a lot better than it did just a few weeks ago when our numbers were up near 700 in most counties. Across west central Florida. You can see Manatee County is still the highest, but they're just at 502, and that's a really good sign that things are starting to change. And those numbers are all going to go down over the upcoming days as a result of this. Get a look at all this rainfall we had today. Now there's a little break, but notice what's out here in the Gulf of Mexico. We still have another piece of energy right here that's going to be moving in our direction. So we'll look for that to move in later on tonight and throughout the day on Tuesday. And currently we have some light rainfall lingering just off of Anna Maria. Also a few light showers along State Road 64. Rainfall totals today pretty impressive. Over an inch in some areas. And you'll notice the blue covering most of our area, with the exception of the northern portions of Manatee County. But look at this. That area in red and yellow that you see out there in the Gulf, that's a piece of energy and tropical moisture that is going to be marching through our area beginning late tonight and throughout the day on Tuesday. And you know what? It's not over yet. More is on the way on Wednesday.
We need the rain, but it ruined a lot of graduation parties over the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely did.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, heading for home, the Atlanta Braves will soon be moving to their spring training to Northport for the next 3 decades, but they'll need a stadium first. When we return, we'll show you where the efforts to pay for the facilities stand.
It's Lincoln's summer sales event here at Alex Karras Lincoln. Drive a brand new 2017 Lincoln MKC Sports Utility for $249 per month or 2017 MKZ for $299 per month. We are proud to introduce the newest addition to the Lincoln lineup, the all-new 2017 Lincoln Continental. We have a great selection and ready for immediate delivery. Alex Karras Lincoln, affordable luxury, winner of the prestigious 2015 President's Award, serving Florida's Suncoast since 1978. We are located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-628-1251, 800-628-1251. I heard about the Detoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Detoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Detoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
For many baseball fans, the more major league teams making their spring training homes on the Suncoast, the better. It is now official. The Atlanta Braves are on the way. Sarasota County, Northport, and the West Villages all giving their approvals, and construction on the new facility is about to begin. Christopher Brantley joins us now with an update. Christopher.
Well, good evening, Alan. Construction begins in September, and there seems to be no wasting of time here. West Village's general manager Marty Black told us the day after the final approval was given, the contractors started making calls and preparing the land. The land is barren, nothing more than a place for cows to roam. But now we know in September of this year, things will be changing.
We have been on a fast track. We're in permitting now from the perspective of doing initial design work.
The design work to build this massive 6,500-seat stadium will be complete with several playing fields.
We confirmed hiring the team of Brassfield Gorey and Willis Smith. Willis Smith is a local contractor to begin the pre-construction work with the design team that have been engaged with the Braves now to design the stadium, the practice fields.
West Village's general manager Marty Black and his team have a lot of work to do. But before any work can begin, the first thing that must be done is soil testing. And when we were out reporting this story, we came upon the company doing that work.
The Braves promise not to move their team once they come. And that's for the life of the time that we have debt on the property, so the 30-year period.
In essence, for the next 30 years, you can almost guarantee the Braves will play spring training here in Northport. Backing out would be a very complicated and expensive venture.
If they move before then, they have to pay all the debt off. Any of the money that they've had us raise as the county or the city, that all has to be reimbursed. So it's a pretty steep penalty to encourage them to stay.
According to Black, the Braves have made clear they intend to stay.
Between now and September, there's a couple of critical path items. In addition to the design that's going on in the permitting work, we have to file a grant application with the Florida Sports Foundation.
The $20 million the West Villages is requesting in state funding is not guaranteed. However, Black and some local lawmakers believe the money will be given. There was a proposed Florida House bill that would have sped along the application process. That bill failed, and now more time can be devoted to the application. And it's not just state money that's gone into this process. From Sarasota County, $22 million. From Northport, $5 million that could be paid out over time.
The alternative would be the $300,000 for the next 30 years, which means if you live here in 5, 10, 20 years, you're also contributing to it then.
Rather than dropping the $5 million all at once, Northport is considering spreading out the money over 30 years. And if you're doing the math in your head, yes, you're correct.
If you do the math, $300,000 a year comes out to around $9 million over 30 years, which is the equivalent, they believe, of paying that $5 million today.
The theory is more people will be living in the city as years go by, and that means more people will be contributing to the stadium that is expected to be a large tourism draw. It's also anticipated to be a job creator.
They expect 70 full-time employees to operate that facility here in Northport and West Villages. Those are new jobs. They're not here today.
That doesn't count all of the hotels, restaurants, and other businesses expected to open up shop around the new stadium. And that brings us to opening day. Most builders shoot for a month of opening, but Black has a very specific date in mind.
I made the contractor get up and said, okay, January 15, 2019, in order to start play in February, and they said, yep, we can do it.
Now, if they can really do it in that time, will be seen in 2019, Alan.
Christopher, thank you. In a moment, two key players who helped make it happen. They will be joining us not on the baseball diamond, but on the trapezoid.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help. I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
If you are age 85 or younger, a final expense policy for seniors can pay up to $30,000 for funeral and other final expenses. You don't need a medical exam, and you can have lifetime coverage. Your premiums won't increase, your benefits won't decrease, and the policy cannot be canceled. To receive free information about final expense plans from a licensed agent in the Angel Care Network, call now.
Call 800-676-1339.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
Welcome back. Some of us will still recall that spring training in Florida, the Grapefruit League, once extended all the way from Miami to Tampa. With the addition of the Atlanta Braves, the west coast of Florida is arguably the Florida spring training capital. Just about all the documents are signed and sealed and delivered for the Braves' new $8 million, 8,000-seat stadium in Northport. The Braves will be moving from Orlando to an 11,000-acre site featuring a stadium, practice fields, and team facilities. The last piece of the puzzle, a $20 million state grant. And joining us for more tonight is Bill Gunham, Executive Director of the Northport Area Chamber of Commerce, and Jeff Maltzby, Director of the Sarasota County Office of Business and Economic Development. And Jeff, that's where I want to stand, because that $20 million is the last piece of this puzzle. It comes from the state, and as we all know, that you cannot predict anything that comes out of Tallahassee.
No, we cannot. It's the last piece of the capital stack as we've defined it. So we're prepared to go forward with our application this week in hopes that we'll get a favorable response from the state agencies sooner rather than later.
Well, is there any indication from the state whether it's going to be looked on favorably? And explain this to people, because everything we hear from the state legislature is cut. That there are people in the legislature who don't want any public monies going to private companies, especially athletic stadiums. So clear that up if you can for folks watching this right now.
Absolutely. We certainly are respectful of everything that's going on in Tallahassee, but this is a different pot of money, if you will. A few years ago, the state created this spring training retention fund. So the money is there, it's allocated. There was a bill that was floated earlier in the session that just concluded that would have required us to have it approved before July 1st. It did not get a companion bill in the Senate, so it died for lack of a companion bill. So we do have a little bit more time to get ourselves completed in terms of approval processes at the state level. So we think we're in a favorable position. We again respect everything that's going on in Tallahassee, and we'll be in compliance with everything they ask us to do.
So this fund, with the money there, is specifically earmarked to retain teams here in Florida, and so they don't go to Arizona?
Yes.
Okay. Bill, what is the Chamber of Commerce doing in order to prepare for this? I would imagine it's a massive undertaking because in terms of bringing business and tourism dollars in, this is something that just does not come along every day.
Well, there's two levels. I'm going to do a little segue with what Jeff was talking about. We went up to Tallahassee in March, met with our representatives, met with the House, met with the senators, met with Governor Scott. And when you say that the legislators are cut, I understand it's not all the legislators. It's the leadership of the House. We met with our House of Representatives. They're in favor of this. We met with Senator Greg Steube in favor of this. We met with Rick Scott in favor of this. So it was just an internal battle up there in Tallahassee and with the legislators and the governor. So as far as our local people, they're in favor of this. As far as our job is to understand the impact that the Braves coming here to Northport, to Sarasota County, has an economic impact. And our job is to convince the legislators in the county, in the city commission, and in the state that this is important, that we need this. I grew up in Florida before the Rays and the Marlins came here. The Braves were the team in the South.
Right, but let me two questions. If you could put a dollar amount on that, and the second part of it, we only have a couple of seconds left. Right. That despite that, House Speaker Corcoran, even though there have been economic arguments for other projects, that has not really swayed him in the past.
But well, the economic impact is not just the Braves itself; it's the buildup around it. All the housing, all the buildup around the stadium, down River Road, continuous spread out of economic buildings coming in, business coming in. That's going to be the economic impact that's going to impact Northport and the Sarasota County.
All right, we are just getting started with this conversation, and we'll pick it up right after we check the weather, so stay with us.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline if you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death. You must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday, and I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
With Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-962-4112. That's 1-800-962-4112. Call now, 1-800-962-4112.
Hi, I'm Joan London with A Place for Mom. Over the years, we've helped thousands of families find senior care, and today's senior living communities have never been better, with amazing amenities like movie theaters, exercise rooms and swimming pools, public cafes, bars and bistros, even pet care services. And nobody understands your options like the advisors at A Place for Mom. These are local expert advisors that will partner with you to find the perfect place and determine the right level of care, whether that's just a helping hand or full-time memory care. Best of all, it's a free service. Call today. A Place for Mom. You know your family, we know senior living. Together, we'll make the right choice.
Call A Place for Mom right now to get our free ebook on financing senior care, as well as a free referral for senior living communities in your area. Call 1-800-290-0352. That's 1-800-290-0352.
Our discussion of bringing the Atlanta Braves spring training to Northport continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. More storms anticipated throughout the day on Tuesday, and we had a lot of rainfall today. Some areas getting nearly 1.5 inches just today alone, and some storms over the weekend helping out with the drought, but not completely. And then another front is due to arrive on Wednesday with a series of these disturbances moving along the Gulf of Mexico right across the state. Will bring our rain chances still fairly high. And then there's another area that's going to move up on Saturday and Sunday. Clouds, showers, and storms will stay in the forecast over the weekend. Right now we're watching one piece of energy exit the state of Florida. That was around this morning, bringing with it some pretty heavy rainfall at times, even a water spot right around 7:15. But notice this right here, just kind of flares up within the last hour or so, indicating, yes, another little piece of energy. Not little, it's fairly significant. We'll be moving through, already starting to enter into Charlotte County, but this is light rainfall, nothing heavy, no severe weather anticipated. It'll move through overnight, and tomorrow it will take its time in producing some rainfall rates up to, again, 1 inch an hour. And I think all told, most everyone will get the rainfall tomorrow. The rain chance is significantly higher than it has been today. And I don't like the fact that they're showing up red already out here in the Gulf of Mexico. We're seeing a few lightning strikes down southwest of, looks like Marco Island. All this pushing off to the northeast, although the showers nearby are not all that intense. Rainfall amounts, I mentioned, up to about 1.5 inches near Siesta Key, also down into downtown Sarasota, about 1 inch there. Lakewood Ranch, lesser amounts, but more on the way. We have a couple of different things going on. We have this big piece of energy here. This is actually leftover energy from a tropical system that moved across Mexico over the weekend. It was Tropical Storm Beatrice in the Pacific. It is no longer a significant system in terms of organization, but there's enough instability and enough tropical moisture associated with it that it's going to continue to move in our area, and we're going to see that kind of hanging around. Then there's another piece back in Texas that'll move through Wednesday, and 76 degrees right now, some clouds, and dew point is up there at 71. The high temperature below average as you would expect, with the clouds and showers at 79, the average high at 88 degrees. Boy, over 1.5 inches reported at the airport today. That brings our monthly total well above average. We ended the month of May above average too. And our deficit now just 3.76 inches of rain for the entire year. So we're doing really good. And as far as the fire danger goes, we showed you that earlier. That's lessening somewhat. It's not to say that it can come back, but we'll be into mid-June pretty soon. And that means that we'll see those afternoon and evening storms take place each and every afternoon for the most part. It's going to be windy tomorrow. A small craft advisory is in effect. That will stay with us. Boaters beware. It's going to be tough seas out there, tough winds right through Wednesday, and maybe subsiding somewhat on Thursday. This is the Futurecast. And again, the timing of the storms depicted by this model may not be all that accurate, but you can see we continually see greens, reds, and yellows move through, periods of heavy rainfall followed by some light rain and a lot of clouds right through Wednesday and then even into Thursday. We're not anticipating much of a break with still a chance for showers. I want to show this one graphic before we get to the forecast. This is the forecast through Tuesday through Wednesday morning. And look at that. Then the scale, 2.5 to 4 inches of rain in places. Yes, it's going to come down. We may be talking about some localized flooding by then. For boaters, a small craft advisory is in effect. Winds out of the southwest, 15 to 20 knots. Choppy conditions out there. And so keep that in mind right through Thursday. It appears in the extended forecast. Looks like this. Showers and storms, a lot of them through Wednesday. A little break, not much, on Thursday, and then they're back again for the weekend. Alan will be right back right after this. Stick around.
Are you Goodwill?
Yes, because when I donate or shop at Goodwill,
I am creating a job.
I am Goodwill, yeah.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-685-6422, 800-685-6422.
If you've ever had a bad night's sleep, call and price the new Craftmatic Legacy. It has so much more than other adjustables and still costs up to 50% less. Featuring a rising adjustable pillow rest to support your head, neck, and shoulders, bedside power plugs, under bed night lights, and more. So call and price one today for less, up to 50% less than Tempur-Pedic, Sleep Number, and other adjustables.
You get so much more and it still costs less. You've got to see how little they cost.
Call 1-800-774-8103. That's 1-800-774-8103. Call now.
I dream of the creature by night and by day. Wielding my weapon, I slaughter my prey. 2,000 cash, I'll be rolling in dough. So hey, a big monster, come out from below. So hey, a big monster, come out from below.
I'm Alan Cohn. Putting housing first for the homeless. Sarasota city and county governments are in agreement on how to address the issue, but how will it work?
Tomorrow on ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the latest on the efforts to bring the Atlanta Braves spring training to Northport. Our guests tonight are Bill Gunnan of the Northport Area Chamber of Commerce and Jeff Maltzby, Director of Economic Development for Sarasota County. We just reported on the news that the governor vetoed part of the state budget that dealt with money for River Road, which is really a bone of contention, but directly impacts, correct me if I'm wrong, this project right here, because there are a lot of businesses and ancillary businesses that need to go in, hotels along that area, which the road is just not sufficient for.
The need for it now is high. So the fact that he vetoed that is disappointing. The thing with the Atlanta Braves was the hopes that would speed up the process. So there are businesses that were with the Braves, nationwide, that were looking at this. There's local businesses that were saying, okay, we're ready to build up along River Road from Interstate to 41 because this is going to be a major thoroughfare. And now that puts that on hold a little bit because we don't know how long that's going to take now with the development of River Road.
Can you give me some examples in terms of how much, in terms of hotels, motels, are needed to go in there that are not present in the area yet to accommodate these spring training crowds?
Well, there's needs all in Northport hotels right now. There was just a reason why hotels had to build. So the Braves come here, it gave them a reason. They've been wanting to come here because of the population and the growth of Northport. They just needed a reason for tourism to come, bring traffic through. This is a reason. So they're ready. They are ready. But again, just like any other business, has to be smart about it. So the hopes of that funding coming through was going to help develop that road, offset some of the costs they would have to put into it. So this may slow it down some, but just the natural need for growth with the Braves in our community, it's going to happen. It's just going to be longer than we wanted.
We talked before the break, Jeff, about what is the direct economic impact on the area. Is there a number out there?
Yeah, the one that we've been using in 2009, the state commissioned a study, and it said that the communities across the state that hosted spring training realized about a $47 million per year economic impact. We have the Baltimore Orioles here, as you know now. For spring training only, their numbers are about 49 million most recently. So an annual economic return of about $80+ million for the Orioles. So we would think something like that would be reasonable to expect when the Braves have come.
All right, there are a whole bunch of questions I want to get to. Number one, just out of personal curiosity, if you could compare this deal and the ease in which it was really brought to fruition compared to other similar negotiations, like when the Red Sox came to town, and the negotiations with other teams that, or the Red Sox went to Fort Myers, but when the Orioles came to town, a lot of these deals are difficult for communities to put into place.
I will tell you, I did not necessarily participate in those other negotiations. I was on the periphery, if you will. But this one's been about 2.5 years in the making. And I cannot spell out enough for you, reiterate and underscore enough how great a partner, negotiating partner, the Atlanta Braves have been. They have a well-earned reputation for being a first-class organization, and they've demonstrated that day in and day out throughout the negotiations with us.
I wanted to ask you about a story that was written by our friend Zach Murdoch in the paper last week about the construction companies being used that it's two companies, one local company, Willis Smith Construction, but also Brassfield and Gorey, which helped build the Braves' new stadium in Atlanta. The losing bidder on that project complained that, well, why are you going to an Atlanta company when there are construction companies that have built similar facilities here in Florida?
Well, that was a process that was conducted by the West Villages Improvement District. They are responsible for the design and construction of the facility. Sarasota County government had nothing to do with that. That was their their process exclusively. So that selection process was one that they oversaw, and they had a committee of 3 people. Sarasota County did have a representative on that committee, and the winner was, as you mentioned, Brassfield Gorey, with a local representation from Willis Smith. So we're moving forward with that team as the team of choice, and we think we'll get a wonderful product at the end of the day.
And of course, I mean, the money is coming from a lot of different areas, including Sarasota County. The money that comes from the county itself, where is that going in terms of construction of this project?
We will, Sarasota County from the very beginning has indicated that we would issue bonds up to our charter cap limit, which is about $22 million or so approximately. So the net proceeds of that bond issuance will be $21.2, $21.3 million.
Bill, the other question is, we've seen this in the news over the last few months in terms of Visit Florida and the other business and tourism agencies that are being scaled back because of the legislature. How is this going to impact your ability to market Northport and the area in terms of bringing people here for spring training?
It brings a whole new venue of tourism to Northport. Northport's been well known for its ecological setting, for its nature tourism. This brings a whole new aspect. It brings sports tourism to Northport.
But are you going to be more limited in your ability to market Northport outside of Florida because of the reduction in state money?
Well, actually, there wasn't no reduction in state money. With the agreement between Cochran and Governor Scott, they actually got more money than they got last year. The agreement happened out that they were supposed to be cut down to $25 million. They agreed to an $82 million budget. So they actually got more funding than they had the prior year. So this is something that not just state, you got county funding also that's going to go toward this.
If I may add to that, we've negotiated in the agreement with the Braves the marketing package where we will sit down annually with them, visit Sarasota, the city of Northport, and put together a package similar to what we currently have in place with the Orioles, to the tune of about $1 million per year of marketing related activities for destination marketing in the stadium, on their social media networks, in other venues that they have. It may be different from what we do with the Orioles because they don't own their television network and some other things, but it'll be an approximate value of about the same, so the Braves are going to be strategic partners with us.
One other area I wanted to get to, and I know these agreements are very complicated, but I couldn't help but look at the comments that some of the county commissioners made about this, specifically in terms of the public use of these facilities. I know that Commissioner Caragiulo said recently that he's taking a leap of faith that you guys have negotiated the ability of the public to use these facilities. Again, travel baseball is so huge in Florida. The Red Sox do an incredible job, I know from personal knowledge, in terms of letting youth sports teams use those facilities when the Red Sox are not there. Is there a similar type of component for the Braves?
Yes, there is. Commissioner, Chairman, I should say, Caragiulo is right in protecting the public's interest to use the facility. As a matter of fact, it is one of the stipulations for the state application. We have to prove a public purpose. So as good stewards of public funds, we have to make sure that the public has an opportunity to use it. So Commissioner Caragiulo was right in suggesting that we go as far as we could to make sure that happened. And I think we've done that in this case.
Bill, you saw in Christopher's story the first steps in terms of construction, a crew out there testing the soil. So it looks, like things are moving along, but what are your concerns right now at this late date? Because as we know, anything can happen.
My only concern is the public out there is not educated on all the aspect of what the economic impact this can have, and the concerns not only on our residents, but that the Braves bring in, the county bring in, the city brings in, to keep our nature, to keep the beautification of our county and our city. It's just the education part of it. They're doing their due diligence. So I talked about the city commissioners and the county commissioners. They're doing due diligence, but everybody is.
One last short question, short answer, because when we've done stories about the Braves coming to town, you get a lot of the comments that people are going to write in tonight that how it's going to change Northport for a facility that's only used by the Major League team for a finite amount of games a year.
I'm going to throw this right at you. I've been in town all my life here and been in nonprofits for a long time. The amount of impact that this Braves are going to bring not only to our community, but to our charities out there at the nonprofit sector, they are very generous in their giving. They are going to give back to our community tremendously outside of just the tax-based dollars, but they're giving that they give to the community all year long.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
This is an important medical announcement. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to uncontrollable bleeding and even death. If you've been prescribed one of these drugs and have experienced these dangerous side effects, you may be entitled to substantial compensation. Studies show that Pradaxa can cause more heart attacks than warfarin, and other countries have already issued safety warnings against this drug. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. The call is confidential, there's no cost, and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to Pradaxa victims, and thousands of Xarelto victims are filing their legal cases. Call the Drug Watch hotline. If you or a loved one used Xarelto or Pradaxa and experienced uncontrollable bleeding, brain hemorrhage, or even death, you must call now.
Call 800-793-6055. 800-793-6055.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Welcome back. In less than 2 years, the Atlanta Braves will be holding spring training in Northport. What will it take to get the facilities prepared in time? And is the question of funding already answered? Our guests right now join us with final thoughts. And one of those questions is in terms of whether the area is ready to attract the kind of ancillary businesses and the contractors need for this construction project.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because as this community continues to grow, there has to be a tax base that grows with it to support all the services that the government has to provide. And if we don't want all the residents to have to pay out the cost on that, economic development is important so the business can help offset the tax base. The Braves itself, and we talked about the contractors coming in from Atlanta to build it, they're not going to bring everybody with them to Atlanta. They're going to look at local subcontractors, not only to help build out the stadium, but all the development that's going to happen around it. So the economic impact is not only going to help our business community, it's going to help our residents to offset the tax base to meet this growth that we're already having.
Jeff, where do we go from here? You know, I said at the outset that the west coast of Florida has almost become the capital of spring training in Florida, and you compare that to the Cactus League out in Arizona, where the teams are on top of each other. Mm-hmm. Are we done here? I mean, is there a potential that more teams will come into our general area?
Well, you never say never. One never knows. We'll see. But now we're dealing with really a serious thing of putting the city of Northport, which is already on the map, enhancing that presence. We've got an opportunity here. We've heard the citizens of Northport. We've heard the elected officials of the city of Northport saying, hey, what about Northport? Where is Northport going to be? We're not hearing our name enough. Well, the Atlanta Braves have heard them. We've heard them. And we will make every effort imaginable through our marketing partnership with the Braves to highlight the city of Northport and make sure they are the focus, and the Braves are located in Northport.
Okay, thank you very much. But before we go, Bill Gettingham is the Executive Director of the Northport Area Chamber of Commerce, and Jeff Maltzby is the Director of the Sarasota County Office of Business and Economic Development. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us tonight, and when we return, we'll have a final look at your weather. Plus, you may only know the country Montenegro from President Trump's shoving its prime minister at the NATO summit. Well, now the country is NATO's newest member, and it's causing some backlash. We'll have the details in our primetime headlines.
This is an important medical announcement. Bard IVC filters have been linked to punctured veins and problems with migration. Anyone who's received a Bard IVC filter must receive medical monitoring and may be entitled to substantial compensation. If you have the Bard Recovery G2 or G2 Express filter, you are in a class of patients who should be compensated for some expenses. Call now for a free assessment of your case and potential money damages. This call is confidential. There's no cost and you may be eligible. Juries have awarded millions of dollars to people who should have been warned about the risks of the Bard IVC filters. Call the IVC Filter Hotline if you or a loved one has received an IVC filter and experienced a vein puncture or required medical monitoring. You must call now.
Call 800-329-3089. 800-329-3089.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better eater.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get the final check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, it's been a stormy one at that today. Alan, this is a look at Casey Key at 7 o'clock this morning. A line of storms moving onshore, producing a small water spout, which quickly dissipated. No damage associated with it, but then another round of showers moving through in the afternoon, and now we have more rain developing in the Gulf of Mexico. So a very unsettled weather pattern we're in. And it looks to stay that way, too, for some time right now. You can see that large area of light to moderate precipitation, but there are some embedded thunderstorms within it with some heavier rainfall, too. As this piece of energy moves its way in our direction, we'll see that rain continuing on again and off again overnight, some of it heavy at times, and throughout the day on Tuesday. Now, we'll see some stops and starts again throughout the day. It's not going to be continuous all day long, but right now, the light rain already developing throughout much of western Charlotte County into South Sarasota County at this hour. And you can see the general motion is off to the northeast with some breaks, and the thunderstorms have been mainly down to our south right now. Rainfall amounts have been pretty nice, and we have rain over most of the area today, which is a good thing. Another piece of energy back here in Texas will also bring us another round of some heavier showers on Wednesday. So it's not over after tomorrow, and Wednesday more rain, and then we get another round, it looks like, over the weekend. 76 right now, the humidity at 85%, the pressure 29.88 inches, actually lowering now. 79 the high today, 88 is the normal, and the record 95 set in 89. Boy, we had a lot of rain at the airport so far today, over 1.5 inches reported there. We're doing pretty well for the month, and we're still about 3.5 inches below average for the year, which isn't too bad considering where we were. Future cast indicating some showers and storms around 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning. Then again tomorrow in the afternoon and evening, some heavier weather moving in. That front pulls up stationary. We get another piece of energy moving along it on Wednesday. The possibility of some moderate to heavier showers. So it keeps coming. We asked for it, And we're going to get it looks like, over the upcoming days and into the weekend, too. For boaters, the small craft advisory is in effect. Winds will be brisky, I should say prisky. It's a combination of windy and brisk, so brisky, a new word I made up. Tomorrow, choppy conditions out there, 4 to 6 foot seas anticipated, and the extended forecast shapes up like this. Showers and storms developing and continuing through Wednesday, and then a 40% chance on Thursday. Less on Friday. Friday will be about the best day for some sunshine, and then the weekend comes, and so do the rain. Chances increasing. Al will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
The official salon of ABC7. Cutting Loose Salon.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
How long have we been married, dear?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years. We decided on Meals on Wheels because I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Now for your primetime headlines, we begin with the latest on the investigation into Saturday's terror attack in London. 7 people were killed and 48 wounded. British authorities are revealing more about the attackers tonight. ABC's Ariel Rashif has the latest.
British authorities have released the names of 2 of the 3 men shot dead by police following Saturday's murderous rampage. Karam Shahzad Boot and Rashid Redouan are both from East London. The gray skies above the city, a somber backdrop for a vigil honoring the victims. London's mayor leading a moment of silence.
London will never be broken by terrorism. We will step up the fight against extremism, and we will defeat the terrorists.
Heartbroken families grieving the loss of their loved ones. Melissa McMullen calling her brother an inspiration.
Words will never be able to match his essence. There will only ever be one James.
Stories of heroism from Saturday. Police and everyday citizens stepping up to fend off the attackers during the 8 minutes of horror. An American college student from Brooklyn says he came out from under the table where he was hiding and rushed to help.
I just couldn't sit there as this man was bleeding to death and just let it happen.
Police are still conducting raids in East London, trying to root out any possible accomplices in the attack. They are also urging anyone with knowledge to come forward.
We want to generate confidence within Muslim communities to make sure they feel supported and encouraged and feel safe when they're talking to us.
And ABC News has learned that the 3 men may have been planning this attack for several months, one of them the center of a British documentary about domestic jihad. Ariel Reshef, ABC News, London.
The Balkan nation of Montenegro is continuing to distance itself from Russia, today becoming the 29th country to join NATO. The small nation of fewer than 700,000 people is drawing a big reaction from its former ally. Today, Russia's foreign minister is saying that Montenegro will suffer countermeasures for its hostile stance. Here in the U.S., the White House says it won't invoke executive privilege and will allow James Comey to testify before Congress. Last month, Comey agreed to testify about his conversation with President Trump. It follows the release of a memo from Comey saying Trump asked him to stop the investigation into Michael Flynn. Comey will testify on Thursday. President Donald Trump wants to make another huge travel-related change. Trump announcing today he wants to privatize the country's air traffic control system. The president says the move will make the system more modern. Supporters say giving control of the skies to private businesses would help with costs and travel time, but critics disagree.
If we adopt these changes, Americans can look forward to cheaper, faster, and safer travel, a future where 20% of a ticket price doesn't go to the government, and where you don't have to sit on a tarmac or circle for hours and hours over an airport.
Canada, Germany, and Switzerland are among countries with private air control systems. Traffic control systems. The Trump administration is pushing for more offshore oil and gas drilling, offering support for the use of seismic air guns in the Atlantic. The Obama administration denied the permit, saying the technique is dangerous for marine life and could interfere with commercial fishing. If approved, 5 surveys would crisscross the southeast coast, logging tens of thousands of miles for energy exploration. One of the most highly anticipated court cases in recent memory is getting underway today as comedian Bill Cosby faces criminal charges for aggravated indecent assault. Lawyers delivering their opening statements today. The case stems from an accusation by Andrea Costan that Cosby drugged and molested her in 2004. She didn't come forward until last year when nearly 60 other women opened up about similar incidents. Costan plans to take the stand. Cosby, at this point, won't. If convicted, Cosby could spend the rest of his life in prison. A follow-up on a warehouse fire in Oakland that left 36 people dead. Derek Almina and Max Harris will face 36 counts of involuntary manslaughter. Authorities say Almina illegally leased the warehouse to residents and used it for unlicensed concerts. Harris is accused of helping plan the show in December, where the fire broke out. Prosecutors say the cause of the fire will likely never be determined. Florida lawmakers are holding a special session this week after Governor Rick Scott vetoed an education funding measure. Scott vetoed the Florida Education Finance Program in order to set aside more funding for public education. A $215 million addition will increase per student spending by around $100 this coming academic year. However, a controversial bill to expand charter schools is still in play. The Florida Education Association says Scott needs to veto that bill in order to increase student funding to matter.
If that stays in place and he doesn't veto it, then there's no amount of money that they can put into the FEFP that will offset the damage that House Bill 7069 will do to our public schools.
The 3-day special session will begin on Wednesday, and that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.